maybe you should. No, I've got to get pizzas to that observatory over there. And so you get attacked by some like smoke monster, and you like the pizzas fall off, and you're like scrambling around, like, oh no, somebody
Smoke
needs
monster.
the pepperoni.
So I'm swimming through 30 weight motor oil.
Why are these new additions to your game that your intention was to release this fall? What are you doing?
Their primary focus should be surviving litigation.
Someone take his phone. I'll do it. Just give me a key card and a red button that turns off Randy's Wi-Fi.
It pisses me off that they lump racing in with sports. Then you look at this, insert F-bomb, Mario Kart and Sonic Racing lumped in with F125.
An aimless rant. We were just angry.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is episode 52 of the Hardcore Casual Podcast. He is Jay of F1 Podcast fame, and I am Mason of Radio Infamy, and we are the conversation at the sanitarium behind you. It has been quite the series of events over the last few weeks, Jay.
Yeah. You had a crazy week, and then I'm having a horrible week.
So we'll start this off with yet another word of caution, the same way that we began and ended last week with, and that is the flu is out there this season, guys, and it'll get you. So be careful. My dad was in the hospital with it last week. Thankfully, he was released. I then got the flu. Now Jay is currently dealing with the flu. So we both have our Coke Zeros in hand. Hopefully Jay is also drinking plenty of other fluids. But I do. So I wanted to put the names up, and I see that you still have from F1. F1. I will give you the opportunity, Jay, to explain your subheader there under your name for anyone that has seen it.
Wow, dude, I couldn't believe you stuck that up there. I couldn't figure out where to edit it. So that was from Magic the Gathering, and I was playing with my son on StreamYard, and from the first 2 minutes, I knew I was going to get murdered. I mean, I knew I was just going to get murdered. I didn't get the draw. He had built a really, really, really good deck, and that's where that came from. But
there
holy crap.
But anyways, it is good to be here, guys. But yeah, thank you, Jay, for fighting through and joining us in spite of the flu. I think whenever you texted me earlier, you said you've been going for about 2 days now on the full bore flu.
Yeah, absolutely. High temperature. Just head feels like I'm in a fishbowl of sludge. It's just, not good.
Well, you wear it well.
Well, thank you, sir.
Hopefully the worst is soon to be behind you.
Yeah. Hope so.
But the last couple of weeks we had, there was the holidays and all this stuff, and so we were kind of in a bit of a news desert. There just wasn't much happening. That is not the case this week. We have updates from GTA 6 and the court case and all of that stuff. We have updates on Assassin's Creed. We have some other stuff dealing with Assassin's Creed as well. We have some Division news. Kratos has been cast in the live-action Amazon Video edition of God of War. We got a first look of Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. Just a lot of news. And anything else that I forgot in there that you want to go ahead and put in at the top of the show as on our list, and then we can just get started?
Okay. No, I'm good, man. It sounds good what we have.
All right. 1 second whilst I try to clear my throat here. Last week, Jay was blaming me for giving him my coughing fits, and so now I'm going to do the same and blame Jay this week. But I will open up with our GTA 6 news and our leaks. Now, I'm sure there's probably a lot of headlines that you're seeing on different websites and stuff that are just starving for your clicks, that are saying like, oh, breaking GTA 6 news or whatever. There is kind of some news, but really it's more about because it's coming out of the lawsuit. So as we know, Rockstar, laid off, I believe it was 34, 35 people that were trying to unionize. Then Rockstar laid them off and claimed that it was because they were discussing top secret, confidential information on Discord outside of the company. And they took action and terminated them for that. Now, this is one of those things where, one, Rockstar, no matter what they do, it will affect GTA 6 this much. It won't change anything. No matter what they do, they could have sent them a letter that said, haha, you're fired, and drawn a dick on it, and people would still, like, it made it very clear that they fired him because they just wanted to, because they were trying to unionize.
That image is burned. That image is burned in my thanks, man.
And people would still buy GTA 6. Nothing is going to slow GTA 6 down. So I will go ahead and say up front that what we're about to go through is not a good look on Rockstar, but I don't want anyone to misinterpret this as us being delusional and thinking that this will in any way impact the sales of GTA 6, because it won't. But whenever we're talking about the lawsuit, so basically the terminated employees filed a lawsuit against Rockstar, and that is now being carried out in the UK. So People Make Games, which is a great YouTube channel, they did some investigation here, and there was some documentation that was actually not read aloud in the proceedings, but there were no restrictions requested whenever it came to reporting or news access or anything like that. So People Make Games was actually able to access for a limited time these documents. There were about 1,000 pages of these documents. So they obviously had to kind of go in there knowing what they wanted to find and get that information because of the limited time frame that they had to work with. But what we come away with is, not a great look on GTA 6. So during one part of these arguments now that we're going through, where each side is presenting their evidence, the barrister, the attorney, the legal representation, however you want to refer to them for Rockstar, actually, when presenting this evidence, said that he was not comfortable leading the alleged infringing information aloud due to how confidential it was. So we got some gamesmanship, some showmanship going on here, where I can just imagine this, British attorney being like, I dare not utter this, in the presence of all the media, for it is so top secret. And all of this production, so he actually asked the judge to read it privately, and that was granted. But later, like I said, People Make Games, and I'm sure there's probably other outlets that are going and finding this information as well. They went and they looked at it, and they found this highly sensitive information. And that information was there was a Discord exchange where one of the staff members that was since terminated mentioned that there was a large session of QA testing that was difficult to do because it was 32 players. And then another one responded saying like, oh, okay, well, surely they can still, they were talking about how they didn't want so many people that Rockstar was saying, we didn't want, more than X number of people to be off at any given time. And then we needed to be able to get 32 people together to do a test of the online component. That was this top secret information. That was this thing that he didn't want to utter aloud. And this is ridiculous for two reasons. So basically their stance was that the online component had not been announced.
Oh,
there had been no announcement of GTA 6 Online.
So childish. True, but childish.
Yes, because everybody knows that's going to be how they make most of their money. They're going to make more money than God whenever it first releases, and then they're going to continue making that money because of online.
It's like when you hear a company say, we don't need a reason to fire you, we'll just create a narrative. This is that. This is creating a narrative.
Yeah, and the other piece there was that they were saying that the number of players was certainly not publicly available because they hadn't even mentioned that this was going to be a component. So again, one, everybody knows there's going to be an online component of Grand Theft Auto 6, and 32 players, that's the max number of players that was available for GTA 5 as well. So it's not like it was some crazy number. They were doubling, tripling, quadrupling their capabilities. It's the same number as GTA 5. So this is not some incredibly secret information. It's what everyone already assumed. And to label it as this top secret thing. Now, granted, should they have been saying some of this stuff on Discord? Probably not. But this is not by any means. I wouldn't call this confidential. I would not say that this was warranting that. And it unfortunately, it actually gets worse because of all the people that were fired and released as a result of these leaks. There were numerous messages, handfuls, a few messages for each of these people that they had presented as evidence, except for one. There was one employee for which their evidence was one Discord message. And that Discord message was in response to this group that was talking about crunch and whether or not different employees or studios under the Rockstar umbrella were being asked to crunch or were aware of impending crunch that was going to be required. And this person, it was 15 words. This is the one piece of evidence that they presented as grounds for their termination for gross gross
negligence.
They responded to that group with nothing that I've heard in North QA. We'll keep you updated if that changes, of course. That's it. That is
Wow.
They were fired as a result of that. And they were GTA's stance there. They said that was basically a termable offense because it could indicate whereabouts GTA 6 was in the development for people that were, had some kind of in the know about how the industry worked.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That is bullshit.
The whole thing's bullshit, but yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, whenever this was first announced, you and I both said, it's like the thing where it's like, okay, they were termed. The timing was certainly curious, that these people were trying to unionize, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, whoops, now you're fired. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll see. Once it goes to court, we'll see who looks like they were in the wrong here. And I mean, this is pretty clearly Rockstar in the wrong so far, based off of what we're seeing. This looks, like you said, it's petty, childish, and it was retaliatory, and yeah, they were just trying to interpret anything they could as grounds for termination. They even said that they basically impersonated another employee in these Discord groups and used that sort of assumed identity as a way to monitor the ongoing communication.
Because that's entrapment. It's illegal everywhere else in the world.
Is it entrapment if you're not a police officer, though? Like, if you're just an employer?
Yeah, but if you're a company and you use insidious means to go after an employee, then the problem's you. The problem is not the employee.
Yeah, I have no qualm with that. I mean, it's a slimy thing that they did for sure. I'm just saying, legally, I don't think that they did anything against the law as far as the way that they went about gathering this information. Was it ethically right? No. This was slimy. This was gross, and it's petty. But we'll see how it all goes. But I don't know. I don't know how their legal stance is here with all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless of what you can get away with legally, I think we can all look at this and say this is not some
How you do business.
not how you do business, and it's not an example of your employees going rogue and just like they had let it out before. They had sort of represented it as like, yeah,
Right.
they had these Discord messages and they were just spewing confidential information all over the place. That is clear that was not the case. That was not how this was operating. So,
And it makes you wonder what these employees' performance rating was like for two different reasons. Because if they had low performance, then I can see the narrative being created, as petty and childish as it was. But if they had good performance, if these were talented individuals, and I'm sure they had to have some talent to get hired there, then they're going to miss those guys.
yeah, and I mean, like I said, this is Rockstar. So you're not going to get a job at Rockstar. You're not gonna work at McDonald's and then work at Rockstar Games. You are going to be at Rockstar Games because whatever it is that you do, you're good at it. And I believe that most, if not all of these, were QA testers that got released. But these are certainly not newbies in their field if they are working at Rockstar Games.
Correct.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It certainly didn't seem like a good look whenever it first happened. The timing was just too suspicious, along with the unionization of the employees. So it was already like suspect, but you kind of hope like maybe it's not as bad as this seems like it is as bad as it sounded. This was slimy, corporate, greedy bullshit. It's just not good. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else as far as the GTA 6 legal adventures that are unfolding?
I don't, especially since we're going to have in the next few months so much.
Yes.
We're going to have so much GTA 6 news moving forward that, I'm done tonight with that. That's just ridiculous.
All right. Would you like to go into the Division, or would you like me to move on to something else on my list? Okay.
So, Japan has this show called Japan FPS. Don't ask me what FPS. I'm assuming it's frames per second or first-person shooter, but who knows? Anyway, it's a game show. They do it annually. And one of the big announcements there, of course, was the Division 3, which we can talk about that in a minute, but it's apparently massive. And then there were posters, legitimate posters, posted all over the place for a Tom Clancy's The Division Definitive Edition. Now, this has got games media. You can go to GameSpot and you can go to IGN and some content creators on YouTube, and they're all writing articles on this thing, what this could possibly be. And most people are under the same impression that if it's true, that it is going to be basically the first game with the second game's updated visuals and possibly a PS5 edition, which would piss me off if the Division 1 gets a PS5 edition and Div 2 does not. That would be weird by itself. There's people saying it's the Division 1 and 2 just jumbled together with all the DLC, which that would be cool, considering that in the second game you did eventually make it back to New York anyway in two huge DLCs. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm one of them, that feels like the setting for the Division 1 was head and shoulders above the setting for Division 2. I think the snowy wintertime in New York really lended tension to that story. That summertime in Washington running around in my cargo shorts and wife beater missed out on. I just felt comfortable in Division 2, and you shouldn't feel comfortable in this game. But as you and I had discussed before the show, there's a lot of mechanics from the Division 1 that needed to be smoothed out and, for lack of a better term, just improved upon. So I'm hoping that's what this is, if this indeed is coming out. Also, we're approaching the 10-year anniversary of Tom Clancy's The Division. So that would be an excellent time, and that's why everybody thinks it's the real deal, is because they're gonna time the launch to coincide with the 10-year anniversary, and then probably release the Division 3 trailer on the same day.
That would be awesome. And so this on the screen right now, this is an example of one of the posters that was shown, that was hung on, at this show. The crazy thing, the thing that is so odd whenever it comes to this, because obviously these did not get there by accident. Like Ubisoft commissioned them, paid for them, had them hung, and then had no presence at the show. That's the crazy thing. So they hung these throughout the halls and then had no presence outside of this. So this is clearly a plan of theirs to have this sort of stealth-esque kind of announcement to at least get some curiosity. It's just it's an odd way to go about it. It's a very odd way to go about it. And it seems especially odd for Ubisoft. This is not typically their way of going about things. But the more that I think about it, and the more I hear you talk about it, I think if it's going to be a definitive edition, I think it's got to be it's got to be both. It has to be both.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't have a current gen version of the Division 1 when the Division 2 is still a past gen version of the game. Division 2, if you play on PlayStation, Division 2, it's a PlayStation 4 version of the game. So you can't have a PlayStation 5 edition of the first game and a PlayStation 4 version of the sequel. And like you mentioned, ultimately Division 2 utilizes both maps. So they already have framework to have those coexist and find some way to make those work together and bring up. So I am curious how they'll. So yeah, I suspect it'll be both. And then I wonder. We were talking before about I believe before we started the show about what would they have to do, what would they have to update, but maybe it would just be easier to just basically rebuild the missions in the second game. If they release both of them at the same time, they have the map, they have all that stuff there.
Right.
Just basically just kind of like take that stuff and put it into the Division 2 and call that the definitive edition. And there you go. You got a PS5 release of both of them. And dude, if we did get that for the 10th anniversary and got an announcement trailer for Division 3, I'd be very happy. I would be very happy about that.
Yeah, and it's a good time to be a Division fan, even if this was false. Especially with the latest update to Division 2, allowing you to add AI companions that you can level up and gear up and assign skill sets to when you're running solo. So that is really, really freaking cool.
Is that available now, or is that coming?
I think it's available now. I haven't been back on there. I've actually been playing Division 1. But then, the laundry list of wish list items for Division 3, man, everybody's got one of them. I've been cruising a lot of content creation, and they nailed a lot of mine. One they didn't that I would like to see is vehicles, some type of vehicles. Obviously, you'd need a big map if you're talking about vehicles, which they shouldn't have a problem doing. I don't know what the location is on the third game. I don't think anybody does.
I was going to ask if you had any speculation that you'd like to throw as far as locations go.
Well, there's a lot of people saying it's going to be Vegas.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and that would be neat.
Especially like a decimated Vegas, like an empty kind of ghost town Vegas. That would be cool. That would be eerie. And that would actually be really good because, you got the Vegas Strip, which is what everybody thinks of when they hear Vegas. But outside of that, it's kind of just like anywhere else. Like it's not like all that we see where it's hotels and all the the neon. It doesn't do that for miles and miles and miles. And
no, not even.
It's just
close.
like it's the Strip, and then it's just normal city. So they would have a lot of flexibility to have like these big set piece moments and areas, and then also just little like residential suburbs, whatever. Like that would be really awesome if we could do it in Vegas. That'd be cool. There's my vote. I would love to see it.
Yeah, and I'll back your play on that with Vegas. I think another interesting city, just because of the story and the way it works, would be Seattle. I think that would be a cool place. The dark and dreary with the rain and that would be a really cool way to do it. Downtown with the
Set up
fish
shop
market.
in the Space Needle.
Yeah, yeah. Set up shop, have the Boo and the Space Needle. But there's a lot of cool places. Or they could go straight for the Rockstar Jugular and put it in Miami, which would be hilarious.
Well, then I mean, you wanted the snow and the jackets from New York. We're talking Bermuda shorts if it's going to be in Miami.
Yeah.
You mean swim
Well,
trunks?
same with Vegas. Yeah, I mean, at least with Vegas, you could do a windbreaker because the wind does howl through there quite a bit. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Div 3 and getting my hands on it. But I would be super excited about a definitive edition of the first game. Because I don't know if you remember the trailer from E3 in 2013 when they announced the Division, but
I do.
It blew everybody's socks off. Did they deliver on all of it? No, they did not. But it still was a passable translation.
It also shows like how far we've come because I'm sure you remember the moment that made the crowd gasp, and that was they do the Division. It looks great. It's got this great set, which I mean they did deliver on that. Everything looked incredible for the sort of not quite post-apocalyptic, but this like stranded New York and all the snow. But the part that made the crowd gasp was whenever they took cover, next to the car, leaning on the car, and he's sneaking around, and the door's a little bit ajar, and he goes and then continues to move, and everybody like the crowd. If you look that up on YouTube, I wish I would have thought ahead and gotten it. We would have watched it, but if you can find it on YouTube, go and watch that moment, and the crowd gasps as they see this guy shut the door and continue moving forward, because those kinds of movements were just not a thing back then. For these small little details like that, it was almost unheard of.
Well, all those things were static assets. So a car with its car door open, that would have been just a one-piece asset instead of a multiple piece. They ended up adding a trophy for that. If you closed 50 doors, you got a trophy. And if you blew out the tires on 50 police cars, you got a trophy. So, yeah, also a cool thing.
Yeah, so they were one of the first ones that were doing like these cool little details. Another one like that you don't notice until you maybe until somebody points it out. But like back in the day with the Uncharted games, one of the things that made them feel so organic, so early. I don't remember if this was the first one or the second one, or it might have been the first one that they started doing this. But whenever you would go into cover, whenever Drake would go into cover and then pop out of cover, they did, tens of versions of those animations with him up against cover. Sometimes he would have his gun up, sometimes he would have his gun down, sometimes he would have his gun held to his side with one hand, and they would just alternate these. They would just have multiple animations for something so basic, and it made it feel so much more organic. So, yeah, there was a time when, shutting a car door as you snuck by it could get gasps from the crowd.
Either way, man, I'm excited and glad I'm a fan of this franchise because I think it's one place that Ubisoft is succeeding.
Well, I'll go ahead and we'll talk about Assassin's Creed, one that has been surprisingly contentious for us and our viewers over the last few weeks whenever we thought like, hey, let's talk about it, and then it turned into a thing. So
yeah, I'm not saying we broke the internet or anything, but as far as engagement, that was one of our highest ones, and
it
wasn't all good.
Yeah,
wasn't all good.
We definitely broke our comment section.
We shook some tail feathers on that one.
So yeah, basically, I'll give you the short version, which is the one that gave me heart palpitations until I looked further into the source of and the actual truth behind the headlines. But the headlines are basically that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced will be made with pieces of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Skull and Bones. That's the part that terrified me. I was like, what? This is even worse because we'd already talked about how
Yeah, I'm already not happy about that.
we had already talked about how it's widely reported. Multiple sources have leaked that the RPG-esque elements of later entries into the Assassin's Creed games are likely to be implemented in Black Flag, meaning like the leveling system, that kind of stuff, where you would have to have, oh, I like this hood, and then you have to find that same hood 8, 9, 10 times, whatever, as you continue to level up instead of what it was before, where it's just you got it, you had it, you're good. And those kinds of things. Also, the combat system gone would be the paired animation system that was around for the original Black Flag. In would be the hitbox system, where it's based off of dice rolls and swinging, and then you could also look like an absolute idiot and be swinging at behind somebody and not making connection. So that was already reported. Not stoked about that. And now, whenever I saw those headlines, I mean, my heart sank into my stomach. But fear not, my friends. It is not as bad as you may fear, but I still have concerns. And I'll start with the easiest one, and that is Assassin's Creed Shadows. So what they are talking about bringing in from Assassin's Creed Shadows is actually the weather system. So not anything else, not some of this other stuff. It's the weather system, which was actually pretty revolutionary, and it was dynamic. And not only did could rain and snow come on like we would seen in other things like not GTA but Red Dead Redemption 2 and that kind of stuff, but also it would cycle through seasons, and during spring and summer the foliage there'd be more foliage, it'd be greener than it would be in the winter, so you would actually see more shrubbery and stuff like that. It was actually really great. So one of the few things that Shadows did right, and it was the first game to do that. So they're talking about bringing that weather system into, according to the leaks, into Black Flag. So that one's not so bad. So what do you think about that so far?
As long as they do not mess with the wave and ocean mechanics when it comes to weather, because Black Flag was ahead of its time with its ability to produce rolling waves and calm seas and even rogue waves, which rogue waves was one of my favorite things, that and the storms on there. So hopefully they're able to take the Shadows weather and morph it into that existing kind of framework, and we get like a hodgepodge of the two where it would be good. Then I don't have a problem with it at that point.
Yeah, it's the Atmos weather system is what it was called, and I'm looking at Game Rant here, and they talk about it, saying not only does it provide dynamic seasonal changes such as snowfall in winter and richer foliage in the summer, it also allows for nuanced and granular weather effects. Elements like wind and rain interact with in-game physics systems, allowing for realistic simulated effects in the game world. There's also a longer gradient of weather effects as precipitation and wind intensify. They influence their simulated variables like humidity and temperature. So a whole lot of things that this does. So that sounds really cool. Okay, so that one, not scared about. Now, let's move on to the real trimmer in this one, which is Skull and Bones. That's the one that really was earth-shaking whenever I saw that. So for Skull and Bones, while not as bad as I had feared, it's still not great. And the rumor is that in order to save on production cost and time, they will be reusing some assets from Skull and Bones. So it's not the it's not like the gameplay. It's not any of the mechanics or any of that stuff that we all absolutely hated. But it is some of the art. It doesn't specify which assets it wants to reuse, but they are rumored to be reutilizing art assets.
Listen, if it is the European style ships, I'm okay with that. But if you're talking about, one of the things I hated about Skull and Bones was starting on a like Singapore style with the long swooping one sail pirate ships, dude. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Everybody wants a big brig with, 18 side barrel cannons and the whole bit. And the jackdaw. We want the jackdaw, man.
And, you could make all these adjustments to the jackdaw as you played through. You could upgrade it. You could upgrade your cannons, your guns. You could change your sails. You could do all this stuff. So, we've waited all this time. It seems crazy to me that they would need to reuse assets from Skull and Bones. And why would you even want to reuse assets? That's the part that I don't get. And Skull and Bones, is it even a current gen release or is it previous gen? Is it PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X even?
I thought it was current gen.
Okay. But yeah, so that might be why they're doing it. But I don't know. I don't want to see that, man. I like what we had and just update those things. Like that was one of the things that made it so signature was that not only did you have the jackdaw, but you also had these legendary ships that you could encounter and combat and I don't know. Maybe we'll just have to see. But the fact that they are wanting to try to squeeze any blood from Skull and Bones is just it does not reassure me. Like I said, it's not as bad as it could have been. They're not reusing systems or mechanics or gameplay elements or anything like that. Thank God. But even just recycling art elements and assets, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It doesn't fill me with confidence, but it doesn't so much fill me with dread either.
I just think we need to prepare ourselves, and I hope this is absolutely not the case, where Ubisoft takes our favorite Assassin's Creed game and ruins it twice.
Yeah, well, kind of 3 times, actually, because Skull and Bones should have been a follow-up to Black Flag, and then they just they went left when everybody begged in writing to go right. So, yeah, this would, as we've said before, if they screw this up, it will be twice that they have just gotten an overabundance of feedback and learned the completely wrong lesson from it. And at some point, and I'm sure they will blame everybody. They'll be like, hey, we gave you the remake. We gave you what you wanted, and you didn't buy it. It's like, well, because you didn't give us what we asked for.
Right.
You gave us Black Flag and the with all your more recent tweaks, the RPG stuff and whatever assets they bring and all this stuff. So yeah, the weather system, great, fine, bring it on. But so much of this other stuff, we had seen a report as well that they had kind of started getting the hint on the sort of RPG-esque elements, and there was some rumor or discussion that they were trying to kind of pull it back a little bit, not remove it, but pull it back. But I think that might make it even worse. Where it's, I don't know. I still have a lot of fears and concerns about Black Flag Resynced, but these are not the most of them. The greatest fears are that which we've already talked about. These just kind of like add on to it, make my concern go up a notch or two. But my concerns were my heckles were already up because of the stuff with the RPG elements.
Yeah, I agree. They needed to hire a Black Flag super fan that just sat in the boardroom and he was the voice of reason. Like every time they'd go, "Oh, this is what they're going to want," and him just go, no, man. There you go again. No, this is not what we want. We want this and this. Do this.
Like easy.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where they're like,
it's not that hard.
Yeah, where maybe they're overthinking it. Where they're like, they can't just want us to like update the graphics and then just give them everything else. Like,
yes,
that's exactly what we want. Actually, that is you have encapsulated it perfectly. That is exactly what we were asking for. Just give us better graphics, maybe some smoother animations, 60 frames per second, and you've nailed it. You're a hero again. Everybody will put you on our shoulders. We'll celebrate you as a king, and you win the day. That's all we want. We don't want the combat system overhauled. We don't want We don't want all these different ships to have a completely different look and identity. We don't want any of that. We just want what we already had, and we just want it to look better. We want it to look the way that we remember it to look. And that's it. We want it to look the way we remember.
Yeah.
Just as we've gotten with these the Halo remasters and stuff like that. Just give us that. Give us that.
Yeah, and to be fair, Halo nailed it.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they killed it. So there we go there. Do we have any more gaming news? Because we have gaming-themed entertainment news, but I believe that's basically all the gaming-specific news I've got.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I'm trying to put together some information on this most recent Owlcat Games Expanse development diary, but I'm not ready for that yet. So we'll get some more of that together because there's been more news that came out this week. So look forward to that next week. And there was also some 007 First Light info, but again, it's something I need to sit down and put together.
All right. Well, then we will move on to our sort of bridging topics where we have gaming-focused entertainment news. So here we go. This is actually these are my favorite news stories this week. I'm excited to talk. I've been excited to get onto these. So we'll go ahead and start off with God of War. So it has been known for quite some time that Amazon was going to make a God of War live-action TV show. The question was, so many questions, but the big question is obviously who is going to be Kratos. There was this rumor for a long time that it was going to be Christopher Judge, and I was like, "There's no way." I mean, the dude is in killer shape for his age, but he's in his 60s. I mean, there's no way that you could have that guy in that role for that long. It just I don't think it'd be a good idea, but obviously,
plus he would still be talking as the credits roll on every episode.
Yeah, every show would have to end with just you could like the fade to black cutting him off, and it would just be like, boy, back when I was, it would just be that, just every time, like, no, roll it. But yeah, so there was this rumor that it was going to be him. I was like, there's no way that that's going to be the case. It can't be.
No.
So it's now been official, and I started seeing this pop up last night. I started seeing this on news feeds, and I had to like Google it to try to find something like Deadline or Hollywood Reporter or anything like that, something to verify that this was not some just rumor mill, whatever. And it was true. Here we have Deadline reporting that Kratos has been cast, and it is none other than Ryan Hurst. Now, a few things here. Number one, I adore Ryan Hurst. He is an absolutely incredible actor. He was my favorite character in Sons of Anarchy. He played Opie. I named a pet after the character Opie years ago. He is just an absolutely stellar actor. Obviously, his breakout role was Remember the Titans as the high school quarterback with Denzel Washington and Ryan Gosling and a whole bunch of other people that were in that movie that went on to be incredible stars. But and he's done a lot of really great roles. And so he will be Kratos. Now his voice, he has a great voice for Kratos. You're muted.
Well, that's good because it's related to voice. I don't think he has a Kratos voice, but
we'll man,
I'm thinking of Gary Bertier on Remember the Titans. I'm thinking of Sergeant Ernie Savage on We Were Soldiers Once and Young, and Opie, and I just feel like his voice is too high. I don't know if he can get low enough to do Kratos. But that's just me.
I am curious.
The look, dude, he's got it nailed using this picture. Yeah. Perfect.
Let us know in the comments, guys, what you think about his the choice overall, voice, look, all of it. So here's already our first sort of points of separation. I think you will have a great voice for it. You have some doubts. Obviously, he has had this beard for since he had the role of Opie. He's basically rocked this beard as just his default look. So the beard is going to be there. Also, I feel it's important to note that he was the voice of Thor in the most recent entries in the God of War series, whenever they were, in the Ragnarok storyline, and that will be what the series is based on. The live action series will reportedly be based on the most recent 2 games. So the Ragnarok series, not the Greek mythology. We're going to be in the Norse mythology. So he voiced Thor in the games. And what did you think of Thor's voice in the games? I mean, he was a big dude.
Yeah, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a good counter to Kratos. It's just really hard going from Christopher Judge, man, to Ryan Hurst. And dude, I like Ryan Hurst a lot. I've liked him, like you said. I've liked him in everything he's been in. And like I said, I think he's got the look nailed. He looks actually even crazier than this right now. He's got some kind of weird Viking haircut going. But we'll see. Maybe he's got a lot of range. So I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah.
Well, he definitely has range. Now, here's where I don't know if I would call these concerns, but I definitely have questions about what this means for how they are going to approach this show. So, a couple of things to keep in mind. Ryan is 49 years old currently. He's currently 49 years old, and obviously we all remember him, like you said, Gary Bertier, and Remember the Titans. We remember his Opie and Sons of Anarchy. He is not a big guy anymore. He has leaned down a lot. Again, he's 49, and he went on to become like a Kundalini yogi. So he's just a laid back hippie dude. You watch him in interviews, he is way lean. Now, granted, you can put some muscle on and get bigger even now at his age at 49. Crazy in how that works, right? In Hollywood, you can just start packing on muscle like The Rock in your 50s. You're muted again.
Well, all I said was yeah, but that's true.
Yeah. And honestly, I hope that he does not do that. Don't risk your health for this. But I do wonder. So I don't think that they would expect a 49-year-old Ryan Hurst to pack on so much muscle that he looked like the God of War of the video games. Of the Kratos of the video games. So that would really lead us down a couple of avenues where it's like, okay, so are we talking a bodysuit, like a muscle suit that would make up for that? Or are we talking a different look entirely, where it's like he's not as exposed as the game character is? Are we talking
where
about
he's wearing like armor?
Yeah, dressing him differently so that it's not as noticeable that he is so much fun. Then you can, because this is what they do in basically any superhero film, is most of these actors, while obviously still in killer shape, like Chris Hemsworth and the like, but most of them also, whenever they're in their suits, they have a little bit of a muscle suit that they put on as well to keep all of the dimensions good. So they could still put him in a muscle suit under some armor. And I mean, in all fairness, Ragnarok, God of War, 2017 God of War, and Ragnarok after it, you could change your armor sets. They have multiple armor sets, and some of those armor sets did include basically like full shoulder pieces and sleeves, where Kratos was covered, except for his head. And so they could still do that, and it could be in line with those games so that it wouldn't be some character betrayal, by making him wear something that was completely off.
Oh, people will still say it is if he does, but yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I also wonder just how I'm very curious about how we're going to approach this. Where is it going to be something that is going to be so they're going to try to be fiercely loyal to the game, like Fallout, where which is also Amazon, and where they're going to try to make it where it looks like it is straight from that game, in which case Ryan is going to be, super pale white, have the very pronounced red streak, or are they going to try to, kind of make it a little bit more grounded, as it were,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say grounded in the real.
yeah, where it's like, okay, he's a little bit more pale, maybe he's got a tattoo or something like that. So I'm curious, just the fact that he is 49, obviously not going to be able to put on that kind of muscle, that makes me wonder the approach that they are going to take to this. But I would hope that the success of Fallout and their dedication to staying loyal to the source material and listening to the fans, I would really hope that they would start to carry that. And granted, they would be the first studio ever to carry that lesson on and apply it to other things. That they would say, hey, turns out catering to the fans works, and maybe we give him something that's got sleeves with a little muscle suit under there, and but still go and make it as close to the game as we can. Let's make him super pale white, get that red streak in there. I don't know. So that's where my head's at. I like the casting choice. I think Ryan Hurst is an absolutely exceptional actor. I'm excited to see what they do. I just wonder the approach that they will take.
And is he going to cut all that hair off?
I think he's,
because when you cut all that hair off at 49, buddy, it might not all come back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because that's his thing. He grew the hair out to play Opie in Sons of Anarchy, and he never really. I mean, I'm sure he's probably trimmed it up again, but I mean, it's all of the roles that you've seen him in since. It's been long hair. He's kept that going, even in his side hustle as a Kundalini yogi. He's had the long hair, so I don't know. That would be a big deal. Now, granted, they could do like a skull cap or something like that, maybe. I don't know. I do wonder because that's a lot of hair to try to grow back.
Yeah, at 49.
Of course, Bezos also has a lot of money.
Keep saying that. That's true too.
Like as attached as I might be to my own hair, you put enough zeros.
Bezos might be like, Ryan, we're gonna actually need you to get that tattoo. It's just gonna be part of who you are going forward.
Hey, again, you put enough zeros on that paycheck.
Yeah,
yes,
I absolutely would do that. Yeah,
let's do it. So I don't know. I am optimistic about this. I'm excited. I think Ryan again is incredible. And my only question is just how are we going to play this? How is this going to work? Just because are we going to learn the lesson of what we did in Fallout and apply it here, or is it going to be like Netflix, who knocked it out of the park with their live action adaptation of the One Piece anime? And then immediately took that into failure of Avatar, and of course we also had the failure of Cowboy Bebop, and all of that. So fingers crossed that they do the right thing and that we go forward. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with Ryan Hurst. Moving on, the next piece of news, also video game adaptations, also Lara Croft. So we have received the first look at Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. So here we go. This is the image that was released. And so we'll go ahead and state the obvious. Jay, what are your thoughts on Sophie Turner as Lara Croft?
So my initial thought is complete smoke show. Because, I loved her in the last season of Game of Thrones as the only character that got exactly what she wanted. She has the snobbiest of British accents, even though she's probably not, but she does fit the role that Lara Croft is this, billionaire heiress that spends her time because she's bored, hopping the world and finding all these artifacts. So I think Sophie Turner fits well into the role. She's obviously got into ridiculous shape for this. Yeah. I watched her. It was either Jimmy Fallon. I think it was Jimmy Fallon the other night talking about how much fighting choreography she's had to do. And she got in she's like, I have the most intense thumb grip now that anybody on the planet has. And she got into a thumb war with Jimmy Fallon and about broke his thumb. He had to jump out of his desk and run across the stage. because they said they had her rock climbing, like free climbing, which is crazy because that's no equipment. So
Her and Tom Cruise.
She's obviously, I think she's using this role to really point herself out as a method actor, and be somebody that gets all into the role and really goes wholeheartedly into it. Because when you hear her talk about Game of Thrones, she's like, we were kids and none of us knew what we were doing. And it was season 6 before we figured out, oh my God, this is something special. And I feel like she's taking this role seriously, man.
Well, I do too. And I am so relieved to see these images of Sophie Turner. This is one of the things where whenever it was announced, obviously Sophie Turner, good actress, but we've really kind of only seen her as Sansa. She was also Jean Grey, but there wasn't really a whole lot to do there. Within, and obviously that version of the X-Men went away. So we were really wondering, like, what does this mean? Is she going to be able to handle it? Will she even look like Lara Croft? Obviously, I mean, there will be plenty of people that will make the joke about particular assets that do not exactly scream Lara Croft from the first game, but I don't care about that. I think she looks absolutely phenomenal in this role, and I'm really impressed, actually, with their ability to be as loyal to the character and the look of the character as they are, while still making it not look cheesy. Like, that looks like nice tactical gear that you would have on. Looks good. And what I really love, and this is the reason that I went with this particular article, is because they zoomed in on her face here. I love that they got the ruby lens shades in there, the round lenses. Like, I love that. And yeah, she looks great. I don't know, like, she just looks great in this role of Lara Croft. So I love this. I love this look. Now, granted, I don't know what this means for the show. We don't really have a whole lot of information on the show outside of, the fact that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is going to be, kind of
There's
over
some big
that.
names in it, man.
Yeah. It is.
Sigourney Weaver and Jason Isaacs. I'm assuming Jason Isaacs is probably going to either be the big bad or he's going to be her dad.
Yeah, and so looks great. We'll see what they do with the rest of it, but they got this part right, at least. So that is one checkbox down. Like the newer games that they've been coming out with, I'm not really excited about that. We saw at the Game Awards the announcements of the 2 games that they're coming out with for Tomb Raider, and I'm not really excited about those. I really liked the 2 or so games that they did whenever they kind of like rebooted it, and it was a bit darker and grittier, as you went through. I really love those games, and it kind of this look reminds me of that era of games. So yeah, I'm optimistic. So far, I like what I see on this. I'm not stoked about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I think she is a bit of a one-hit wonder when it comes to her abilities, being Fleabag and the creator of Fleabag. I think she's kind of one and done on that. So everything else has been pretty uninspiring. So I'm not sold yet on the direction or story of the show. We'll see how that goes. But as far as the look, I think they nailed it. And after seeing Sophie Turner in this, this costume, I don't think they could have picked a better person for it.
I don't either. Yeah, they nailed it. And she got a perfect age to play it for a while.
So
that's good.
Yeah, that's one thing where it's like, so with Ryan Hurst in the role of Kratos, if they're just going to be focusing on the Ragnarok storyline, they could spread that out into a few seasons. There are 2 games. They could probably stretch it into 3-4 seasons. But Lara Croft, I mean, they have a wealth of material to pull from. They could do this for 5-6 seasons. And obviously the way that they do these shows on a streamer, we're talking at least 2 years between seasons. So she is, she's at a great age. She looks great. So yes, I think she's one of the perfect choices for this. Absolutely sold. All right, so that is that piece of news. I do want to mention one thing that we should start having a section on here called News You Thought Was Already News. And so in today's edition of what would be, in today's edition of News That You Already Thought Was News, Blade is reportedly canceled. The Blade movie for the MCU is reportedly done and no more. So they are now... it's now speculated that the rumor is that instead of a Blade movie, we will now be getting a Midnight Suns movie. Now, the Midnight Suns, much like any group in the Marvel universe, has had many iterations and multiple different people within them. But some of the big players pretty consistently within the Midnight Suns is Blade, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, and
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah, he's a big one. So I would certainly love to see a Midnight Suns movie if done well. But there's a few things here. One is the thing that they kept coming back to is that they just couldn't find the right story for Blade. Like they did so many script treatments and they just couldn't find the right story. It's like, how do you not? Like, how did we manage? It's you're a hybrid, and you kill vampires. That's what we watch the original Blade. It's still awesome, and there's still not much story beyond that. You are a daywalker. You kill vampires. That's it. Throw in a little bit of a corporate power struggle within the sort of the high-rise office of the vampires, and that's it. That's it. They tried to overcomplicate it. The rumor was that the one that they were working with for so long was that Blade would be a side character in his own movie, and that the main character would actually be Blade's daughter, who would in the end replace Blade, which of course the MCU would do
like
that.
Shit.
Yep. And thankfully, one of the few times that the MCU conceived of shit and didn't make it. Whereas before, it seems like you gave them a shitty script, you could not keep them from making that movie. You couldn't keep them from making that movie with a pack of wolves and a stun gun if they got a script like that. So the fact that they actually didn't make it must be even more of a testament to just how bad it was. But if we do get a Midnight Suns movie, which again, I like the Midnight Suns, be cool to see. Although I think it's a bad move because you would be introducing Blade for the first time in the MCU, and you'd be introducing Ghost Rider for the first time in the MCU. You would have two brand new characters in the MCU that you would have to introduce, which not a good idea. As well as you would have to introduce whatever villain they were going to be going up against. But I don't think that it should be that hard to write a Blade movie, and we don't know if the cancellation of the Blade project and it being repurposed into a Midnight Suns film, we don't know if Mahershala Ali is still attached to it or not. And Mahershala is in his 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Mahershala. He's another incredible actor. And in fact, he's already been in the MCU. He was Cottonmouth in the Luke Cage MCU series.
Correct.
But the whole thing, like what I think we're going towards with Doomsday, and we've talked about it before, I really think we're heading towards a point where during this whole Doomsday event that's going to be multiple movies long, I think that basically they're going to combine all the timelines again, and that's going to introduce the young X-Men. Like, we're obviously getting the previous cast of the X-Men movies and that kind, but I think ultimately what we're going to end up with is a new, fresh, young group of X-Men, and they will be the ones that carry the MCU forward. It doesn't make sense to have a 50-something-year-old Mahershala Ali making Blade whenever. I mean, how many Blade movies are you going to get out of that guy? You know, at that age.
And there's other actors that are much younger now that I think could probably pull it off. Damson Idris that did the F1 movie. Yes. I think he'd be a good call. He's already turned it into quite an awesome actor himself by his own right, and so that name comes to mind. He would be at the top of my list for sure.
Well, the top of my list would actually be because so obviously, as we'd mentioned, Mahershala has already been in the MCU, and the one that I would want has also already been in the MCU, and had a bit of a thing around his name, but I think after all was said and done, it was pretty cleared on a lot of it. And Jonathan Majors. I would love to see Jonathan Majors as Blade. I mean, that dude is, he's in his 30s. He is yoked to the gills. Like, I think he would be an absolutely impressive and imposing Blade. I would love to see him as Blade.
Well, you also got Denzel's kid, man.
Oh yeah, J.D. Washington.
Yeah,
John David Washington. Yeah, except the one thing that he's got against him is his height. They would definitely have to do some trickery between him and some of the other people to kind of like make his nullify that height. So I don't know if I see him as Blade, but he is an awesome actor though as well. I really like his movies and his roles that he's in. But yeah, there we go. That's what we have there. I think that exhausts. Excuse me. My voice broke there. That's embarrassing. On the internet in front of all my friends. So yeah, I think that is basically all of my news stories. Do you have anything else that you would like to touch on?
I have two. One of them's a bad news story, and one of them's a good news story. The bad news story is I have started the Percy Jackson season 2. I mainly started watching this because my son loved the books and has read all the books. He's even read the next series, which I guess is Norse mythology.
They're doing the God of War thing. They're jumping from now. Is it the same? Does the same character go from one to the other, or do they just do like here's this one and
different.
Then okay,
and then they're doing an Egyptian series as well. But
are they just stealing God of War's homework?
I guess so, man. But anyway, and I never watched the Percy Jackson movie, which by and large, apparently from Percy Jackson fans, is the worst thing ever, is that movie with Alexandra Daddario and whoever else is in it. And again, never read the books, but
I never read the books or saw that movie.
The first season of the TV show I absolutely loved, man. I thought the first season was good. This second season, though, it is slow. It is disjointed. There's so many times I'm just screaming at the TV going, get there already, man. I mean, can we get to the last page? What are we doing? And just back and forth between these crazy little plot lines, and some of the characters' plots make no sense from a motivation standpoint. And I hope it gets better. I really do. I hope it finishes off. Edge is still great as Ares. Although he's only been in it just finished episode 3, and he's only been in it for like 5 minutes. But
I assume he had a more prominent role in the first season.
He did towards the end of the first season. In fact, that was a big shocker for me when his reveal happened. I was like, "What?" Because that's my era of wrestling, man. Was Edge and Christian and Triple H and The Rock and Stone Cold and those guys.
Hey, man, Edge is still going on AEW.
Oh, okay. But anyway, it's not right now. It's just not good. I'm not happy with it, and I love the actor that plays Percy, and I don't want this to stain his legacy because I mean he was fantastic in the Adam Project, and he's been fantastic in everything he's in. And,
it's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah. He's obviously gotten older and taller, but he's surrounded by some actors and actresses that are just. I hate to use this term because I don't like judging people for a job I've never done, but they're not very good actors.
Well, to quote Tim Allen in what was that movie? Galaxy Quest, you don't have to be. It doesn't take a good actor to recognize a bad one.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's a really good point. But I want to like this show, but it's making it hard right now. I mean, and obviously I'll push through the whole season because I also love Greek mythology. It's one of my favorite things ever. And this is an interesting telling of how that world works.
I know that it's been a super popular thing. Whenever the books were out, and that was a big deal. And then I'd heard so many great things about the first season of the show. I've consumed none of it at all. Not the movies, not the show, not the books, nothing. I need to get into it. I love Adam Copeland, Edge. And I did not know that Alexandra Daddario was in it. Makes me even more compelled to watch. Is she in season 2?
She's in the movie.
Oh.
She was in the movie.
Well, never mind. I do like Adam Copeland, though, so maybe I'll still go in.
Yeah. And, Lance Reddick was in it the first season. Of course, he passed away. So
Who did Lance play?
Kronos, the Titan. So we don't know who's playing Kronos now. They haven't really introduced him. So it should be interesting to figure it out. But anyway, that was a bad news story. Good news story, though. Fallout Season 2, just plugging away, stacking up those Emmy nominations already before they've even started doing Emmy nominations. Phenomenal show. I'm 90% sure we got to see Walton Goggins wear a pair of his goggle glasses this past episode. I will die on that hill. He wore the pair that didn't have the strap on it, where you'd taken it off and putting the legs on it. But
actually, Jay,
obviously,
they I was about to say they all have the strap or the temples. You can swap them in and out. Yeah.
Well, I was just surprised it worked by the amount of people that are like, dude, I'm not going to wear strapped. And I'm like, you can take the strap off and put the legs on it. And they're like, they still look stupid. And I'm like, no, they don't. But anyway.
For those that may be new to us here at Hardcore Casual and just tuning in after our 52 episodes that we have now been going, part of the Hardcore Casual lore is that Jay just has an obsession with the Walton Goggins goggles product. And he is in pursuit of his very own pair of Goggins goggles.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, this was a really good episode. It was kind of a heart-wrencher at the end of it, believe it or not. But they're in Vegas now, so it's going to start heating up, so I'm really excited about that.
I think you mean New Vegas?
Well, or New Vegas, whatever. They just call it Las Vegas, oddly enough. I don't know why, but the funny thing is when they're standing in the middle of the strip, which is more like a cul-de-sac, it is the exact scene from Fallout New Vegas when you first get there. I mean, everything's exactly where you remember that matted painting from the first game.
This again, I don't. It should not have taken Fallout. It should not have taken Fallout to show this. But I just it blows my mind how it is. Fallout released was 2025 or did it release in 2024? The first season. It was 2024. It was 2025 when it released. It was around this time last year. So in 2025, Fallout was the first video game adaptation where they just went full on fan service and loyal. I mean, fiercely loyal to the source material. We've gotten some other products that have been made and games and movies TV and movies or whatever, where it's like, oh, this one did it better. Okay, I see the choices that they made here, but they at least included this. Not Fallout, man. Fallout was, they were going to adhere closely to that if it killed them, and they did, and it paid off. And it just blows my mind that they are the first ones to try it. What a novel concept of being loyal to the people that made you rich. And they're doing it. Season 2 is still going strong with that. I really, really hope that all of these other properties and adaptations in the future take a page out of this book. We saw it happen with Fallout for video games. We saw it happen with One Piece for anime. These live action properties and adaptations can be fiercely loyal to their source material, and when you do that, that's where you get success. We've talked about it so many times, but yeah, I hope that Fallout is just a shining beacon for all those that come later of how to make this work, because I am always blown away at how, down to the look, the aesthetic of the show is dead on.
Yeah, even when they sit down to a computer and pull it up, it just makes you giggle because it's exactly the computers you see when you're playing the game. And Lucy used a power fist last night, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. And of course, they got the caps, and there's a great scene that involved drugs and coming off of drugs, and they followed the game lore to the letter, which was great. But they absolutely, and of course I'm not going to share it, but they, pardon the pun, they dropped an absolute cannon bomb on us last night, as far as how it all started, in regards to the Fallout universe.
Okay.
An absolute, I mean, because for 20 years I've believed it was this thing, and comes to find out it's not. So, and I like
I'm
it. I like
intrigued.
where they're heading with it. Because, and that's all. Well, I can't say anything else, so I'm going to leave it at that. But man, just doing a great job with this show.
Yeah, and I'm so glad. And I still remember whenever I saw the first trailer for the Fallout show, I hated it. I don't know. There was just something. It just didn't work. It's the same thing like with.
Well, you were probably scared.
Well, I was. I
was.
was terrified.
Yeah.
You know, I
Nope,
knew that
you're-
Walton Goggins was in it, and I love Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
But you know, Walton Goggins has been very good in awful,
very-
in awful
Yeah.
productions.
Yes, he
before.
has.
So I was absolutely terrified. But it's like Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, the movie with Chris Pratt.
Chris Pine.
Sorry, Chris Pine. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Chris Pratt's in everything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, Chris Pine. But yeah, whenever they did the trailer for that movie, whoever made that trailer, whoever put that trailer together, should never work in Hollywood again.
Oh,
because
agreed.
that
I was scared
trailer,
to death.
that trailer made it look awful. It made it look like it was on wires. It made it look super campy. It made it look like something it absolutely was not. And I feel like a lot like that the initial Fallout trailer kind of did, not to the same degree, but kind of to a lesser degree, did the same thing where they kind of almost like they were embarrassed at how closely they had followed the games. Because again,
Yeah.
like we said, this is like the first property to ever follow it this closely. But it's almost like they were like a bit embarrassed that they had followed the game so closely, and they didn't want you to think that. And then, you know, but whenever we watched it, we saw like, man, they really did. And now it's something to be proud of. And I remember that they did not expect it to be a hit. That's why they just threw like, how many was it whenever it first launched? That they were like so many episodes that were already available. They didn't release them all at once, right? It was like two or
It was
three.
three.
So I remember that they just threw them out there because they didn't expect it to be anything. They didn't expect it to take off. They were just kind of like they had spent money on it, so they're just like, whatever, just throw it out there, and it became a phenomenon. So I mean, I don't know. It just, I can't say enough good things about it. I'm so glad that it worked out. I'm so glad that whomever it was that clearly fought to make it as loyal as it was won that argument, even though nobody at Amazon believed in it after it was done, and that they proved them wrong, and that we're still going with it. So yeah, I'm very, very glad that we have such a great property that we can hang their hat on, and hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens with because again, these are also Amazon. God of War, Lara Croft. Now we also have Henry Cavill that's working on the Warhammer stuff, which I have no concerns about Henry Cavill on that. I mean, we know that dude is all about staying loyal to source material.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the outlier, of course, is Assassin's Creed because it's on Netflix.
Yeah. And
that's the face right there. That's the one I was thinking when I said it.
Yeah.
The inhale. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, like we said, Netflix knocked it out of the park with the One Piece live action. And that was one where I initially, because I had never watched One Piece, I'm actually currently watching the anime now because my son loves it. And I'm like, okay, I like the live action. Let me just watch the source material. So I'm going on my little 1,000 episode adventure now on that. But yeah, there's over 1,000 episodes of the show.
Oh my God.
But, you know, seeing the trailer for the first season, it was so ridiculous. There, you know, people were talking into snails, and it just seemed so campy, and I was like, "That's not my thing." And then I just kept hearing so many good things about it, and so I watched it, and I loved it. And it's like we have said so many times about Death Stranding, where it's like, "Hey, man, it's a weird, weird world, but if you let yourself be in that world and you just accept it and you accept the rules, it's not going to break those rules." You like, it's a weird, crazy world, but it follows its own rules, and it's a ride. And I did that with that show. It was great. And but like I said, then we got a bunch of other failures after that were adaptations in the same vein of anime into live action. So Netflix has not proven that they can learn the right lessons. So yeah, I am very, very anxious about Assassin's Creed with Netflix.
Yeah, and I don't even know where they're going with it setting wise. I'd almost bet you money it's going to be Ezio because that's everybody's favorite, which I really don't want. I'd rather them do Syndicate.
I would too. Yeah, Syndicate would be awesome.
Especially since, you had Peaky Blinders on Netflix for years and people haven't had that. They're missing out now on that era of time. And this would be a good time to do it in the Syndicate vein, but it's hard to tell what they're going to do. They could go back and do, the first one. So who knows?
Yeah, I will say, just to give them some credit though, that they did then give a Splinter Cell Death Watch, which was outstanding. It was an outstanding animated series. Granted, it followed the events of the games. It takes place much later, but whomever was in charge of that, they did an outstanding job.
Yeah, and they stayed loyal to the source material.
Yeah,
as if the source material had been extended.
Yes.
So into older age. So I felt like they did a great job, and I felt like they got absolutely bent over at the Game Awards. But
I did too,
because if that had been a movie. If all those nominees had been movies, Splinter Cell would have won because it has that stuff that Hollywood wants. It has that tight, focused action. It has, all those things. And Last of Us 2 was not it.
No. Last of Us 2, or Last of Us Season 2, which is based on Last of Us 2, the game. Yeah. Absolute atrocities, both of them. Whatever. So, anyways, I'm glad to hear that Fallout is continuing to be the sort of the trailblazer down this path, and I've definitely got to get caught up.
Yeah, you finished the first season, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've seen I watched the first episode of maybe the first 2 episodes of season 2.
Okay, gotcha.
So so I got to see the introduction of the new character and the stuff with the neck, all that. Yeah. So gotten at least into that. But yeah, I'm very happy to hear that they're continuing on. And do we know how many? Have they even mentioned any sort of like roadmap on how many seasons they would like it to go?
I have not seen anything as far as that goes. I honest to God think they're just playing it by ear and hoping that halfway through this season they get greenlit on a third, and
I don't think that'll be a problem based off of what I've seen, what I've heard. And then, of course, again, as we've said, like Goggins he's having his renaissance. He's finally getting the attention that he should have gotten years and years ago. So, I think that if you got Goggins and you've got him on a contract, why not take advantage of that and,
absolutely
strike while the iron's hot. Do you have anything else on your list?
I do not, as far as that goes.
As far as anything else goes, do you have anything on your list?
I don't know, man. Not really. There's really no movies right now that I'm, super stoked about it, other than Crime 101 because it's starting to hype up on that with Hemsworth and Halle Berry and Barry Coagan or whatever his name is, and all
Barry
them
Coogan.
guys. So, and Nick Nolte, and about 900 Academy Award winners in that movie. So
ensemble.
Looking forward to that.
Cast.
Yeah, looking forward to Mercy. Mercy looks like it's heating up too from a hype train standpoint. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I actually want to see that movie.
I am not, because I like to sleep, and I know how my brain works, and I will not sleep.
I will say. So I still need to watch 28 Days Later and 28 Months Later. So I have not seen. Sorry, 28 days and then 28 weeks later. That's what 28 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I have not seen 28 Days Later or 28 Weeks Later. My first in that series was 28 Years Later, and I went and I saw it with my son, and I was expecting a crazy zombie movie. And for the first quarter of that movie, I got it. It was wild. The director has an uncanny ability to manufacture anxiety from the screen. I mean, you watch that, like, I felt at times that I was like, am I about to have a panic attack? I mean, it was anxiety.
No, I definitely don't need that.
Yeah, it was anxiety on screen. And there's even Izzy was like, there was one part where I was like gonna like walk outside and take a breath. But anyway, so the first like quarter to a third of that movie is that. It is nuts. Probably quarter. But then the second, or the next 3 quarters of that movie are a touching, heartfelt, gut-wrenching story about family and loss and confronting hardships and making peace with the things that have happened to you and around you and brought you to where you are. It was incredibly thought-provoking, and it became a very emotional experience by the end of it. So it's like, if you go for the intense zombie movie, it's there for that first quarter, and man, is it intense. But after that, it's actually a really touching movie that will make whenever you watch a movie and you're like, man, I should call this member of my family and tell them I love them, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's one of those kinds of movies where you watch that and you're like, man, I need to let some people know I love them. And so it was such an unexpectedly poignant, touching film. And I would actually highly recommend it to anybody, whether or not you loved horror movies, hated horror movies, or zombie movies. I'm not a horror movie guy. I watched it because Izzy wanted to see it, and but yeah, it was great. It was outstanding, and so I'm looking forward to the Bone Temple now, and it's either out now or is about to be out this weekend, I think. So yeah, need to look forward to that. And you could always go and watch Avatar 3. It's still in theaters.
Yes, I could. I got to get the feeling better first. I don't want to sit there and cough the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we made it through COVID. Go there and just just make some people nervous.
Yeah.
Cough during the movie. But all right. Well, if that's all we've got, thank you very much to everybody, and again, thank you so much for working with us as we have had just the crazy weeks. We had the holidays, and then the flu hit me and my family, and now it's hitting Jay on his side, and just absolutely getting slammed left, right, and center with all these different things. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, for sticking with us as we deal with this. I hadn't gotten a chance to put out an edited video. Tried to put out which I do. We now have an edited video on the channel now that got released yesterday, but even that was an absolute nightmare. I don't know what went wrong with the editing software just to get it out, but something went crazy. So I don't know, man. Forces are conspiring against us. They did not want us to make it to 52 episodes, Jay, but we have made it.
Well, we did.
52 episodes. It has been quite the ride, and looking forward to many, many, many more episodes with hopefully like 98.6% less flu.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you, everyone, and I guess I will let Jay get back to his sanitarium, and I am going to figure out something for dinner. So thank you, everybody, and
thank you.
Yep, we will talk to you next week, Thursday.
Absolutely.
7, 8 Central. Sorry, 8, 7 Central. Whatever.
8, 7
you're watching now.
Yeah.
You know the time. Anyways, whatever. See you then, guys.
I must speak to you adieu.